step into the captivating world of Leonard Bernstein's life. From his vibrant youth with the New York Philharmonic to a fateful encounter with Felicia Montealegre, witness the love and music that transcends time. Explore the highs of fame, forbidden love, and the heartbreak that shapes Leonard's journey that delves into a turbulent marriage, infidelity, and a poignant reunion, painting a portrait of love, loss, and a musical legacy. Let's dive into Maestro. The film opens with a scene inside the living room of an elderly Leonard Bernstein, as some newshounds and a digital digicam group crowd one facet of the room, with the mythical musician casually gambling at the piano. They are nicely conscious that no possibility of documenting Bernstein's play has to be missed, despite the fact that the issue in their interview is barely different. The interview is generally centered on the person's courtship with his overdue spouse, Felicia. Leonard jokingly admits that he nevertheless once in a while sees his spouse operating within the garden, suggesting that the reminiscence of her nevertheless lives on in his mind. He begins telling the tale of his lifestyle to the news reporters, giving us a perception of what happened in his life in the past. The story goes in the flashback, all through Leonard Bernstein's more youthful days in 1943, when he turned 25 and operated as the assistant conductor of the New York Philharmonic. One morning, when Leonard is with David Oppenheim, the clarinetist of his band with whom he is in a relationship, he gets a call informing him of a troubling scenario at his workplace. The usual conductor, his positional senior, Bruno Walter, had fallen extremely sick. With the subsequent overall performance of the symphony orchestra being on that very day, Leonard is hired as the conductor and makes his debut with the Philharmonic. This had certainly been the moment that he had been waiting for, and after faking anxiety and sadness at listening to Walter's illness, Leonard celebrated the event joyously. When the person subsequently steps up as the substitute conductor, his ardor and brilliance shine immediately, and the audience already loves his work. After some time, when Leonard Bernstein started to make a name for himself in the world of music and symphony orchestra, he visited his sister Shirley's house for a party. It is at this party that the man first meets Felicia Montealegre, a young actress of Costa Rican descent, and he is smitten by her from the moment he lays eyes on her. Leonard keeps talking about how the two of them are quite like each other, because of their having to gather different experiences to build up their present personalities. The words that the young man comes up with are not very logical, since every or most humans are indeed collections of their varying experiences in life, but Felicia immediately gets the intent behind all his statements, that he is very attracted to her. As the two turn out to be friends very quickly, they discreetly leave the birthday celebration and instead go to the theater in which Felicia has been training her to appear for the time being. She and Leonard act out a scene from her script, and this moment brings the two even closer. Both are passionately creative in their personal fields, tracks, and appearances, and it's this very similarity that makes them extra interested in everything different. Soon, a whirlwind romance follows between Leonard and Felicia, as they make each attempt to satisfy every time they can. While Felicia was an understudy at the time, she too received her large destroy quickly because the actress was chosen for a lead position in a Broadway production. Just like Leonard earlier, Felicia additionally shines at her first opportunity, triumphing over the target market along with her performance. During the early days of his career, many ship out recommendations to Leonard, one being to extrude his degree call and cover his Jewish identity, which he no longer needs to do, and he reveals his lady friend helping his desire too. Eventually, Leonard Bernstein and Felicia Montealegre get married and begin a satisfied circle of relationship together, having a daughter, Jamie, soon after. While the effect of Leonard's professional career as a composer was more indirect, his uncontrolled physical urges played a major and direct role. Leonard Bernstein was bisexual, with some of his closest friends and family knowing about it, and there were not any strong efforts to hide it from his side either. Even before he had met Felicia, Leonard had been having an affair with his clarinetist colleague David Oppenheim, with the man even being present in Leonard's room on that fateful morning when he received the call to be the conductor. The two men were extremely close, even though it was almost impossible for gay men to have a relationship per se during those times. But their bond ultimately ended in heartbreak with the introduction of Felicia. After their romantic relationship began, Leonard took Felicia to meet with David, and he introduced the clarinetist as his dear friend and colleague at this time. As the film moves past the couple's marriage, the man is seen meeting David once more on the streets. This meeting is extremely different from the ex-couple's earlier meetings, for they are both married to women and have children as well. When Leonard and David finally get a private moment, Leonard cannot help but break down, extremely sad that he had to lose his lover in such a manner. Perhaps this was indeed the fate of numerous queer romances at the time when society demanded that men and women of age be married and start a family by having children. The revelation to Leonard that David too was now married and had a child marked the true end of all possibilities in their relationship, and the two never met again. But even though his one constant lover was no longer by him, Leonard's attraction toward men did not disappear. By the mid-50s, Leonard gained immense popularity and became a public figure after composing several successful operas and Broadway musicals, including Candide and West Side Story. Naturally, Felicia too came into the limelight at this point, but only as the beloved musician's wife. The marriage did affect the woman's acting career, as she eventually had to give up on it, but not because her husband wished for it. Being a wife, and especially a mother, almost immediately meant taking time away from one's passion for women at the time, and so Felicia eventually turned into just a wife and a mother. Perhaps Felicia could have nonetheless lived on with this expert overshadowing, as there has been hardly ever every other choice for her thinking about the times. But she couldn't stay together along with her husband's repeated affairs with younger men, mainly because he did not attempt to cover them either. Felicia raises her concerns over Leonard's affairs with men, insistent that she holds reign over him as his wife. As the years pass, Leonard's dalliances, as well as his alcohol and substances, bring their marriage life to a difficult point. These issues increase when their daughter Jamie hears whispers of her father's infidelity, but Leonard denies all the rumors against him, telling his daughter that the people are just jealous of his success. Gradually, over time, Felicia started to lash out at every instance of Leonard having flings with younger men, terribly telling him off whenever she found out about them. But the husband did not feel too perplexed by these developments, and it was in this context that his career, and the resulting ego that found a place inside his mind, took control. Following his popularity and fame, Leonard's infidelity increased greatly, and there was almost a sense in him that his actions were justified because of his musical talent and genius. Therefore, when Felicia objected to his acts of cheating, Leonard genuinely believed that his wife was acting out of jealousy, feeling herself inferior to his professional accomplishments, and therefore lashed out against him. This disagreement between the couple took the worst form when, during the performance of Leonard's latest composition, the man sits with his hand locked in Tommy's, a younger man he got acquainted with, all while Felicia is sitting right beside them. She leaves the celebrations following the performance earlier than everyone else, and then leaves her husband's belongings outside their hotel room, making it clear that he is no longer welcome there. The next day, when they return home, Leonard and Felicia have a huge fight, with the latter calling out her husband's insensitive actions. She hits Leonard where it would hurt most by claiming that his musical creation could not negate the pathetic hatred and darkness that was inside his heart. She says that if he continued on this path, she will die a lonely old queen. As Leonard and Felicia stayed far from each other for the duration of this time, each began out seeing different people, even though their hearts had been set on each other. A reunion takes place in 1973, after Leonard's excessive overall performance at Ely Cathedral, which Felicia had long gone to peer at without informing him about. They are ecstatic to peer every difference on the top of the overall performance, and it's miles now that the genius, having drawn thought from his wife, begins to be felt. The reunion ends in reconciliation among the couple, with Felicia taking back her harsh phrases in advance and supporting her husband together, along with his inner frustration of now no longer having finished sufficient music. Within a few days, though, Felicia has to get herself checked after falling ill, and she is diagnosed with lung cancer. The surgical treatment recommended by her health practitioner might get a breast removed, and the entire state of affairs could take a horrible intellectual toll on her. Leonard stays through his spouse's facet very dedicatedly at some stage in this time, supporting her to ease her pains in any manner that he can. Some near buddies are touring the couple, wishing properly for Felicia. However, she eventually becomes too unwell and mentally sour to look anyone in the eyes. The concept of her dropping her existence even as anyone else around lived their traditional lives with only a little sympathy thrown her way, appeared to power Felicia toward a depressed state. A scene in Maestro suggests Felicia run out to the backyard in front of their house, likely to leap over the wall and into the sea, in an attempt to cease her existence. But as Leonard runs after her, she abandons her determined plan and instead embraces her husband lovingly. This is the final time that the two are visible within the movie, as Felicia passes away quickly from cancer. Maestro additionally gives a couple of minutes of Leonard's existence after the loss of his spouse, following which he and his kids left their traditional home, possibly not able to undergo the reminiscences of Felicia in the place. A few years later, Leonard changed back to his traditional ways, as he passionately taught track and changed into additionally visible having affairs with more youthful men, a number of whom have been his students. Perhaps those informal flings truly had little or no emotional importance to him, similar to what he had attempted to explain to Felicia. But the girl's attitude made sense too, and she or he might now no longer have been any happier seeing her husband bask in such affairs either. Except there has been no person to forestall Leonard now, and no person to like him like his spouse did. During Maestro's ending, the movie returns to the interview with which it had begun, and Leonard Bernstein now admits that his spouse had had an exquisite impact on his expert career, inspiring him to acquire all that he had. The movie ends with a close-up of younger Felicia, turning far away from the camera as a tribute to the girl who had helped make the respected musician who's remembered to this day. That wraps it up for Maestro. What do you think about Leonard Bernstein's complex journey through love, music, and loss? Does Maestro strike the right chord in capturing the highs and lows of an artist's life? Share your views in the comments. Your enthusiasm keeps the movie magic alive. If you relish this recap, don't forget to hit subscribe and give us a thumbs up for more enchanting content. Thanks for watching.